I thought it would be good to get back to Vance and Dave and the stories. There's 4 more to go. This is the 5th one, and I'll have to do them in shorter episodes too. This one is called The Haunted Sawmill by Marie D. Henry, copyrighted 1996. Snow fell softly from dark gray clouds that hung so low they hid the tops of the trees. Vance and Dave stopped often to rest as they made their way along the old logging road lined by the cloud-shrouded trees. The snowflakes fell like floating feathers on the still air, but once on the road, they became heavy as lead on Vance and Dave's snowshoes. With each step they took, their snowshoes sank deep into it, and when they lifted their feet, the snowshoes acted like an oversized shovel, picking up large amounts of snow, forcing them to stop often to rest their aching legs. This was not what they had counted on. This late spring storm was completely out of character for the time of year. Vance looked back at Dave, following far behind in his broken trail. He stopped and waited for Dave to catch up. He was more than glad for the chance to rest and fill his lungs with the fresh air of the forest wilderness. He noticed that his legs trembled a little from their efforts, but he did not worry, for they always did this when he had traveled a long ways on snowshoes in soft, deep snow. However, he worried about Dave. He was lagging further and further behind as the snow got thicker and deeper. When he finally caught up to Vance, he was breathing hard and heavy. They stood together in the middle of the road, waiting for Dave to catch his breath. Vance studied his friend's tired face. He asked, "Are you okay, Dave?" Dave did not answer his question. They looked at one another and then back the way they had come. Their snowshoe tracks were already partly covered over with fresh snow. It would be as difficult to go back as to go on. All around them the forest was heavy with the silence of the snow-covered trees. Vance always loved this atmospheric experience when in the woods during a winter snowstorm, but not today. He did not like their situation at all. This was a danger he had not counted on when they had left home at 7 that morning. For a second, he wished that he had not let Dave talk him into this trip to the winter's now empty logging camp to search for forgotten equipment that they might sell to loggers next winter. But as quickly as the regretful thoughts entered his mind, he pushed them out, thinking such things would not help them survive the night in this storm, and likely it would turn colder too. He looked back at the road they had traveled. It was as unmarked as the road ahead of them. It was as if they had not come over it at all. Vance glanced at Dave. He too was looking at the road. Vance removed his mitten from his right hand and dug deep into the front pocket of his pants. He removed the gold-plated pocket watch and flipped open its deer, buck, and doe embossed lid. He held his hand over its exposed face. It was 3 p.m. He snapped the lid shut and returned it to the front pocket of his heavy woolen pants. They weren't yellow. He turned to Dave, who was now standing behind him. The falling snow was so thick that he could hardly see Dave's face. He was surprised at the loudness of his voice when he spoke. "I think we are about a half-mile from the abandoned sawmill. Do you think you can make it to there?" Dave nodded. Vance turned and started off. He could hear Dave's snowshoes woofing in the snow right behind him. He glanced back. Dave followed him as closely as he dared without tramping on Vance's snowshoe tails. Vance wished that he had worn his bare paws instead of the tailed ones. With the tailed snowshoes, each time you took a step, the long, bound-together wooden frame that formed the tail did not rise out of the snow. They dragged behind as you lifted your foot for the step ahead. They also picked up more snow when it was newly fallen like this. That's the end of episode 1. We'll continue the next one next week. I'll try to get them all on there for you.